Oh, Jesus.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe it, but we are live. And we are here to talk about All H on Saturday. More
Yeah.
specifically, what you see on the screen, Marvel Studios. And yeah, we are in different places all over the United States. I am in a completely different state. Ronan's in a completely
Hmm.
different state. And I am
Yeah.
only here as a moderator, really. I am just interviewing and talking to him. So there may be other people that's going to roll in, hopefully and thankfully. But
Yeah.
as you see on this man's face, there were very much so emotions going from you,
Oh,
Ronan.
yeah.
And I want you to kind of give me the lowdown goods specifically for the Marvel panel. This is what I want. And it's up to you how you want to like digest it or how you want to kind of let everybody know. But a lot of people don't know anything about what was actually shown outside of the reveal, the huge reveals of who's going to be Doctor Doom, a certain car that came up. But people saw that on first hand. They didn't really see what was really there. So I want you to kind of dissect what were some of the things in the Marvel panel as soon as it started up that you got.
All right. So yeah, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending what your time frame is. Yeah, and for those, just a heads up, if you don't know too much going into these films, then you take that as you will and go beyond that. But it started off with Captain America: Brave New World. Oh no, it started off with a choir from Deadpool Wolverine, and they started playing like just a prayer. And next thing you know, all around us, there was these smoke machines letting out some fog on. I was like, "What is going on here?" And next thing you know, you just see these people in dead costumes um, showing up. And all I'll say is that I hope you've seen the film because it has that connection to the film or not. And I'll leave it at that if you haven't. There was a quick moment of paying respects to a film that just what is it, Sam? Over $200 million, I think, on the
Yeah,
weekend,
so
making the most.
domestically 205 million world record for a rated R film, and then worldwide about 440 worldwide
Yeah,
million so far.
yeah. And so yeah, it was a quick second celebration of Deadpool Wolverine and what they accomplished. And yeah, I was not expecting that, and it was, I don't know, it was really 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 cool to see that. And then we make the transition uh, into Captain America: Brave New World, and El Presidente Kevin Feige comes out, tells us how he's excited about Hall Age, and brings out Tim Blake Nelson, brings out I don't butcher his name, Pasano Benny Ramirez, I believe. I could be wrong. The new Falcon. He brings out Giancarlo Esposito, and he brings out Anthony Mackie. And Mackie, listen, I've heard stories. You saw stuff, but to me, from the BTS of "Cut the Check" and just his vibe, man, that the vibe was just going from the get go, and it was a sweet thing to see him like just pump up the crowd. There was a little trash talking between Tom Holland saying, I have my own movie. What do you have? And now he has the movie. And at one point he says, F Tom Holland, Tom Holland. I was laughing my ass off. Um, and then as they're promoting the movie and whatnot, we get the confirmation that Giancarlo Esposito is playing. I forget the character's name, but he's the leader of the Serpent Society. So Marvel Studios is officially putting the Serpent Society in a story of Captain America in the MCU. Which I remember. I don't remember this, Sam. For Phase Two or Phase. It was there was this promotion at the Alcatan Theater when they announced Infinity War Part One, Part Two, and there was a mislead title at the time for the third Captain America movie, and it was called Serpent Society.
Serpent
And they're like,
Society,
no, no,
yeah.
no. and they're like, no, it's Civil War actually. And the fact that they're bringing that back, and this is the character that Giancarlo is playing, is a fascinating element to the film. And again, folks, if you want to stay clear of this, avoid some of this stuff. But for those who don't care, who are very interested to see what was shown, I'll say that Phineas Thunderbolt Ross, Harrison Ford, in the footage starts a presentation to the world about how like the Eternal, the Celestial that we found in the ocean, which they finally addressed, the Eternals. Um, People went the minute that thing stuck out, people were leeching for it. We gotta collect it together as a world because it's provided us a new element, adamantium, and all of us are going, "Oh my god!" It was we were like,
all
"Ooh!"
right. You gonna pause it right there. Pause it right there because got somebody else to add into the stream. Mike, what's up, Mike?
And
What's
Mikey,
going on? What's going on? Yeah, this is the last day. I am kind of drained. I took some rest this morning because I did a lot the last couple of days, so I'm doing good. My feet are doing better, so no, so walking and everything good. Did a lot of coverage, and that was worth the wait. That panel was the experience that any Marvel fan at least one experience once in their lifetime being in a Hall H Comic Con panel, and that was electrifying. Now, in terms of the actual news and stuff, we get into that, but yeah, this was enjoyable.
So okay, so that's a good segue. So get to this picture right here. So again, you guys have to understand everybody in the outside world, like myself, we're not there in the room. We did not get a trailer. We did not get any footage. Can you guys, I mean, Rona, you just said that, Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross officially understood that, okay, adamantium, that is a thing now. But what
yep.
footage did they show? What did you guys see? Did we see anything about him? Because he looks really excited, right? He looks like he's about to rage out, Hulk out. But I
Yeah,
want you guys to tell me, what did you see?
you saw him in his full glory, literally in front of a presidential stand, like meeting, and he's raging out, and all of a sudden you see the big red hand, and he rises, and you see him full face with the red eyes and everything. So, yeah, that was, and I think the first shot, like we had a full from head to toe. So I was, and I liked how they, in terms of CGI and everything, you see his face, it's Harrison Ford. So yeah, like almost like this, almost identical, really. But yeah, that was the big one. They got into Giancarlo Esposito, that he's the leader of the Serpent Society. Um, but we got more footage of him. We still have not seen any footage of the leader yet, even though he was on stage. But aside from that, yeah, it was just more of the scene expanded upon what we saw at CinemaCon. They cut that out because like we already seen this before, but he left the adamantium part out. So in Vegas, but now we get to see the full thing obviously after Deadpool and Wolverine. So yeah, I thought it was just perfect timing for that.
Okay,
That's what I was
okay,
wondering,
okay.
is that how much of this was from the cinema footage? Because you guys told me that like you saw some stuff, and I was like, "What?" And so I'm like, "Wait a
So,
minute, did you guys know about this?" And from the looks of
so
it and sound of it, you
no,
guys didn't know this.
no, we did not. I will absolutely speak for me and Mike. When they showed us like Isaiah Bradley. Like basically, it was a great conversation that was happening with Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie. It transitioned to the scene that we all see in the trailer, but it's the full scene. You get to see how Isaiah Bradley like legit switches like the Manchurian Candidate, like from a Marvel standpoint, and he just goes guns locked and loaded, and no one can stop him. He's taking out everybody until he jumps out the window, and then there's like a small little reel, but we never really get anything Red Hulk at all in the CinemaCon. The first time we get to see a Red Hulk was in that initial trailer that you guys just got, but this
Years
sounds
ago,
like the
yeah.
first time we got Red Hulk in its entirety, which is freaking dope. So, anything else from the Captain America Brave New World to go over from that point?
In terms of footage, not really. I mean, at one point, Sam Wilson does tell the president that's bullshit, and I was just like, "Ooh!" it was great seeing a paisano having Captain America's back. That was sweet to watch. But other than that, again, that first panel, and looking back at it now, I'm like, it was kind of genius how they set it up, the panel for the whole hour, and how Mackey's energy was glowing up, and how when Harrison Ford showed up, I wasn't expecting him to show up. I love Harrison Ford, and I respect his time because he has his own personal life. I wasn't expecting him to show up. I was like, this is the second time I've been in the presence of my childhood hero, and he's into what I'm into. He hooked out, dude. He hooked out in front of us and was like giddy about it. And dude, Mike, I don't know if you saw it, but at one point it seemed like he was getting emotional because he wanted to pay quick respect to William Hurt, who passed away. And it was a sweet moment. It was a sweet moment
that
to like
was a
seeing him choke up. Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, that was a moment where you can tell, like, because we know Harrison Ford long enough. He's not excited about something, he's gonna tell you. Like, either this is just a paycheck or this is actually something that he's excited about. And he was, and you just saw his energy, his enthusiasm with it, which definitely gives me more hope and confidence in terms of him in this role. But yeah, no, he definitely kills it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So what happened next? What was the next thing on the menu?
Thunderbolts. We finally got
Ooh.
footage. We finally
Wait,
got
hold on.
footage.
So hold on. So I mean, help me to understand this, and maybe you guys can both answer this question. Does Thunderbolts take place before Brave New World or after Brave New World? And how can you have a Thunderbolts without Thunderbolt Ross?
So they addressed that to an extent. Kevin Feige was like, "Listen, like comic books have been doing this for 80 years, so sometimes stuff have similar names. It's what is and whatnot." So I, I'm not losing sleep over it, but to me, I fear that the team's name is not going to be based upon Immediate Thunderbolt Ross.
What
At
did you
least
say to
that's
Anthony? What did you say Anthony Mackie said? What did you say? You
no.
said, ooh. What did he say?
So
Anthony
I
Mackie
went
said
ooh
BS. That's what I'm trying to
because
get at.
because because he said how the connection of like timeline. I don't know which story comes out before or which story is after. All I know is that they addressed the title, and Peter Poole, the guy from Deadpool 2 and yeah, Deadpool 2, he was there moderating, and he asked, "Wait a minute, but Harrison Ford Ross is not in the movie, right?" Like, no. So how is the team's name under his name? And Kevin
They
Feige
lying.
quickly addressed it. He addressed it. Maybe they are lying. He addressed it like, listen, comics have always done this. People have similar names. There's Slade Wilson. There's Wade Wilson. There, Thanos and Darkseid are similar things. And he's like, and I it's understand like, yeah, I get that, but I'm like, oh, you're not gonna have this team under after Thunderbolt Ross. So I think that's what they're leaving it at. And I think they won't address it until the movie comes out. And it brought back the panel. It started, I believe. Man, my memory's wrong. Is it either started with the footage? The footage felt like almost like Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad to an extent. Where like, okay, all these people are been set up to do a job, and it was set up, and now they want payback. And for the most part, I saw it was John Walker's U.S. agent. It was Yelena Florence Pugh. It was Hannah John Kamen, the Ghost, and David Harbour's Red Guardian, mostly together. I think what's the villain from Black Widow? Jesus, the
Ghost.
no
Ghost.
No,
no
no, no, no. Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. There you go.
Oh, Taskmaster.
Taskmaster was in the footage as well,
Yes.
but not so well. Bucky was in it as well, and him and Yelena feel like they're spying on each other. And yeah, I heard a while that like it feels like the Suicide Squad, which I'll take that any day because I effing love that movie. And I think for the most part that's all. Oh, we saw Brian the son who was in Gun Maverick, who's in the chemistry. He's playing this guy named Bob, and he's this person that the Thunderbolts meet in this facility. He's wearing like the garments that patients at a hospital wear, and they just address his character's name as Bob. And at one point, a group of soldiers like line up in front of him and are shooting at him, and like the footage, like the camera, it just goes down to the ground next to the soldiers, and you see just rounds of bullets going down near them. So I'm like, is he playing Sentry? I put my money on that. They didn't really address it, and I think they're gonna hold it pretty close to the chest when it comes to that film. And we got another unique experience in the Marvel panel, which was that David Harbour, the Red Guardian, showed up walking in costume around Hall H, and like really started yelling out the cat, like, "What the hell, God? I thought we agreed we're in costumes." And it was the funniest. Like, David Harbour is a gem, and anytime an actor is willing to go through and put that costume on and go out on stage like that, I commend them for that.
Man, please tell me they ain't got that man with hockey pads again, bro. Mike, tell me that's not hockey pads.
I don't know. I cannot
No,
confirm or
it is.
deny.
It is. Now, with going back to that character, Bob, no, it's Bob or Robert Reynolds, which is a Century, which that's, I would say, out of the entire panels, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying that was the most like underwhelming out of the panel, because I'm like, the boys look interesting, but nothing like they had their money shot with Century because they're done shooting, and they could have done that to say, oh, because each footage that everyone showed us, or Fantastic Four, Captain America, everyone had a money shot. This footage they showed didn't have a money shot. It was like, okay, here's all these different characters in a situation, interesting, but I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I want to see more what they have. And I know they have more to show, but in terms of story, yeah, it does give across a James Gunn type of Suicide Squad. What I'm talking about is how all these characters have tragedy, or kind of like have really a sense of no purpose, and they're all coming together. And even though these characters have been in different stories, other big name properties, but all of them somehow are relatable when you put them on paper. Yeah, there's a common thread between all these characters. So, and how they interact with their dynamic and everything is interesting. So, but no, I'm here for it. The action, the choreography looks great. But yeah.
Do y'all think that the reason why they didn't want to capitalize on Sentry, because a lot of people, were really looking forward to Stephen Yeun being Sentry, and they were kind of like, let me ease them into this movie, and then we're going to prove it by how the story is going to play out with the character. Because I think a lot of people were really banking on his character more than anything going into this movie. I mean, all the rest of the characters are dope, but I mean, the fact that y'all got some footage is awesome, and I'm glad you're able to talk about it, because a lot of people out there don't know that there was anything even shown. And I think that from a news standpoint, a lot of people's perception is like, well, everybody talked about everything else, but Thunderbolts didn't get anything. So the fact that you guys did say that there is footage that they did show, and that the majority of it is done, and they actually talked about the Thunderbolts, I do believe personally that Kevin Feige would not be foolish enough to say that Harrison Ford is in this movie, because it doesn't make sense to say it right now. I think it makes more sense for him to kind of hold on to it, wait until the end of Brave New World to see how things pan out with the proposed president. So I think that they're holding their cards to the chest with that. But anyway, segue to what is next. Is it about 4 people, or is it about something else?
Listen, listen.
Bro.
I brought this to me during the line for us waiting to get into college. I brought this with me just in case I needed to catch up on my reading. This part of the panel was what made it for me. I know there's something afterwards that people freaked the F out for. I freaked the F out for. Mike did probably. And it's trending. I get that. But to me, the thing that tells me that I'm like, if people still have any doubts and like, I don't know about that, I'm like, for me, what they showed us, what the vibe was during the Fantastic Four segment. During this part, it made me, man, if only I could tell you, Man,
No, I mean,
let me
tell
say
us
this
now. What are
first.
you talking about? Tell us now,
Let me
because
say let me tell you
so
this because I don't.
hold on. Before you geek out real quick, because this is the thing
Okay.
that I don't know. I don't know if you guys were outside seeing what the world was talking about. From an outside perspective, they were like, "Yo, there's drones going out, and the drones are turning into Galactus." And then, like, somebody was like, "Yo, the Fantastic Four, like, it's spewing like ash into the air." Like, from the outside perspective, I'm freaking out because I don't see none of this. I don't know if y'all are experiencing it. And then when I was like seeing certain people talk about like Fantastic Four, they were like, "Yo, there's a car that just hovered into the Hall H." So for me, just off of that alone, I would have freaked out. I can imagine everybody else feels the same that way, but I want you guys to tell me what the heck you saw because we don't know.
Listen,
So
I'll,
go, Mike. Go,
oh,
Mike.
you guys hear me? Sorry. No,
Yeah.
that was the best footage they've shown at San Diego. But I'll be honest with you, that's probably out of Marvel. That was some of the best footage they have put, even above the Deadpool stuff we saw in CinemaCon. Like, they only have 1 week, and they lied to us. They're saying, "Oh yeah, well, we don't have nothing. No, there's no footage. You haven't started shooting yet. We got some concept stuff to send, show y'all and everything." Okay. And then all of a sudden, here we see Mr. Fantastic, Pedro Pascal, uh, teaching a class with the as the Future Foundation for kids, talking
What?
about yes,
Yes.
alternate reality and parallel Earth and everything. And then it literally, I'll talk about visually. It gives the style of The Martian, of like I want to say type of like yes, like John F. Almost like space exploration. The landing on the moon, Apollo.
Apollo
You
11.
know,
Yeah.
Yes, Paul Love. Yes, definitely it gives that feel. But and also I want to say also Jetsons, but not in the corny way. Just in terms of style. Like when they sang alternate 60, then they had to pull it off. Like even the instantly what you got was the dynamic of these four characters as a family. And I was like, okay, how is their chemistry is gonna blow up on screen? And they killed it just with the few moments they showed us. Even like the relationship between Reed and Sue, like you just see that chemistry there. Ben, Johnny didn't have a lot of speaking lines, but I think they're definitely trying to save him. But no, that was, and then we do at the end get a shot of Galactus, full head coming in at the Baxter Building. But yeah,
So real quick, because
Okay.
y'all just blew my mind with that. Real quick, hold on. Now you said you saw the thing. You saw what he looked like,
we saw a
like
Okay.
the
silhouette of
thing
We
thing.
him.
didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't. We didn't.
Right.
We saw
What?
there was a portion. There's a portion of the footage where like they're in a like game show location where like who would you want to date? Door number one, door number two, or door number three? And like there's this lady who's like, you know what? I'm gonna go with the third contestant. And the camera pans to the right, and you see two people who you're like presuming, okay, that's Johnny and Reed, and there's a third figure, and it's rock shaped like person bulked up, and I'm like, there's Ben, and like, dude, again, just to again tilted light down, you don't really see the this, but it's the thing. It from that point, just like that, it felt like someone took Jack Kirby or John Burns' drawing of the thing and like made it live action. Again, I couldn't fully see him, but you could tell the shadows and the silhouette of the thing. It looked like it's clobbering time, y'all. Like this footage, Sam, it felt like watching the old Disneyland, the Walt Disney, here in Disneyland, we have this ride. And it felt like the 50s, 60s footage stuff you would see him promote the park like. And I again, folks, for those watching, I'm not trying to sound egoistic, but when the panel as a whole started, I noticed Kevin Feige has a hat. That's his sing thing. I remember seeing him like, oh my gosh, he's wearing a 4 on the hat. And I was just waiting for the timing to be like, and I told Sam about this footage somewhere, and I'll ask the channel to let me borrow, or like you hear me shouting either nice hat or your hat, Kevin. It's awesome. And so he responds, someone said something about my hat. And he just goes into it, and the crowd went with it. Sam, the vibe of this footage, it felt like watching the making of Disneyland back in the 60s and the possibilities of what the future could hold. And that's something that Matt Shackman really broke down to. Like, this movie's about family and how the 60s really for him were about a time of hope, of exploration, of how pushing the limits and boundaries as a species, not as a country, but as a species, and how seeing, yes, the foundation of, the future foundation is, segment of teaching kids science one eye, and Reed is being nerdy and he sees the kids all bored. He's like, okay, want to see an explosive? All right, put your glasses on. And you can kind of see more or less that, like, this is the vibe of once they've been transformed. He tries to put them as celebrities, trying to ease the pain and the burden as they see it, but me as a gift or blessing that they're not just humans anymore. They're more than that. And seeing how, again, a few seconds, but like at one point, Reed goes, and this is the best damn pilot ever, in the whole world. And Ben could like, no, 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 I'm the most handsome pilot. And it's a good back and forth between friends. Are like, no, that's up to debate. He's like, nope, there's nothing to debate. And it cuts to Susan Storm talking about how they designed the building and their house. And she said, oh, by the way, that's my baby brother Johnny Storm, and he's very single, I think she said. And they just like Johnny be like, what are you doing, sis?
Yes,
And
that's
again,
what they did.
in the helmet, the ship going up, I'm telling you, it looked like it was right out of Kirby's drawings. And Mike said it. Last shot of the footage is just the inside of the back to building. You're assuming it's the Richards apartment. You see this big ass head just looking in, purple, and I'm like, fucking Galactus.
So, all right. So I
Oh,
gotta, man, y'all are giving me way too much information. So, really quick question: the suits, does it look like these suits, or is it different than this? Is it
we
more
didn't see them. They
like
were in their
this?
spacesuits.
So
We
it's
didn't see them.
so, oh, so we haven't even seen the official suits yet.
No, I mean, you can kind of guess that they're part of the spacesuits that they wear into the mission, but we didn't see the insignia all the way. Um, and I think the vibe of it also echoes, like, it's not an origin story. I mean, they might address it, but it's not an origin story film. They're telling you that, like, okay, now it happened to us. How are we dealing it? I believe.
Mm. Ooh, I see exactly what y'all talking about. Somebody leaked that. Ooh, no. Wow.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
eyes. It's freaking eyes.
yeah,
Dog.
man.
That is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I like, to me, this is like, now 2025 is going to be a stack of year, but that is like, this Fantastic Four is becoming my most anticipated movie for next year. But
Yep.
with that footage that they showed, it just, yeah, it was just the style that's what I got attracted to. And obviously with the director of WandaVision, he just took it, and now because he has a bigger budget to do this, entire universe in this style of futuristic or 60s and everything, and just completely immerses yourself. He's giving like almost old found footage of Stark Industries or the Stark Expo with Howard Stark, but think of like the technology of the future in that era, flying convertible cars and stuff. Nah, and yeah, we didn't see any of them in costume, but just the look of them in their astronaut suits, and also in the blue and that era and stuff, like, uh, it was given like, yeah, it is a family, but also they're definitely uh, high position people, like terms of intellectuals in this era, with especially Reed Richards and stuff. So they're going on a mission, and then we see it take off, which hence the title calling First Steps.
So, really
Sam.
quick question. Huh?
So
Real quick.
at one
Okay.
point,
Yeah.
the director said, "We're looking at Sid Mead and what he was drawing back in the day." For those who don't know, Sid Mead did a lot of the concept art and design for Blade Runner, like the ships and whatnot.
My
Bro,
question. So my question to you is this: is this a Captain America situation where we're taking the first family, and they really are in this timeline in the 60s, or, and I don't know if they addressed it to you guys, are they in a completely different universe and they're going to get dropped into ours because the time frame doesn't work? like either one, they're being pulled from time like Cap is, or they're in a completely different universe. Did they address that at all?
So Peter asked it. He's like, "This looks like it's the '60s. It looks like we're in a new timeline or like reality, if you will." I don't think, and Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Matt, the director, and Kevin Feige flat out said, "Yes, we're in a different, we're in a different reality." I think they're leading people that way, and I won't address it until the movie comes out. But but they did confirm that these Fantastic Four will be in the two Avengers movies. How, when, where that'll happen, I don't know. I doubt they will tell us, but they confirm it. You're gonna experience this family in their story, and then they're gonna be in the two next Avengers movies.
All right, Mike, your perspective on this? Like, what do you?
Well, it was actually everybody, not just Fantastic Four. He said everybody who was here on stage, including Cap, including Thunderbolts, everybody's going to be in the next two Avengers films. So
Wait,
yes, yes,
okay.
every everybody that was
So,
on stage, yeah.
so this is okay. Now this is where it gets really tricky because I don't want to be controversial. I want you guys to give news like you guys are journalists that you are. But to pivot here, I think the perception is, of course, with Secret Wars, like that is a multiverse type of situation. So it's believable and plausible that we can get anything and everything. Heck, look at what happened with Deadpool. We got everything and anything. But I think this is the good segue. What came next? Because what came next, it ain't the Kang Dynasty. No shade. And I want you guys' take on it, but I also want you guys first to report what you saw.
So
What happened next?
So,
so
go ahead, Mike.
basically,
Go
no,
ahead,
so
Mike.
basically, they had um, they had a montage of the next two Avengers films, basically saying, hey, we got we already got done talking about the Fantastic Four, this team, but we need to talk about one of our most famous teams, the Avengers, uh, and the next two, and then he just basically show footage. There's only you need to find with this type of story with Secret Wars and everything, you need a certain type of director or directors to tell us in the best way. And we just want to show you guys something, and they show us a montage of start off with Captain America in the Winter Soldier in the elevator, and then just showing a montage of Winter Soldier, the Civil War, to Infinity War, and Endgame. So all of like the highest moments, and then all of a sudden you see the screen for Russo, Russo brothers return, and then they came on stage to talk about it, and also say how back when they were doing Avengers Endgame, they really thought we were done with this, but me and Anthony, we took time to actually discuss the story we want to tell, and we actually find a possible future with you guys and tell more stories. So, yeah. Now, what that means beyond Secret Wars or whatever, I don't know, but he's just saying like, yeah, we made sure this was not no reactionary move. This is like, no, we spent time to think about what we want to do with these next two films and stuff. So. And that was before they revealed the title of the two Avengers film of Avengers Doomsday, not King Dynasty, Doomsday, and also Avengers Secret Wars. But I'll wait until we get to the main reveal at the end. But Avengers Doomsday, Doctor Doom, which is also that that film is going to be setting up Doctor Doom before we get to Secret Wars, because they mentioned before we get to Secret Wars, it's almost like in Infinity War, like we have to have Civil War before we get to go to Infinity War, so we can break these characters apart, so we can bring them all together. And the same thing for this is we have to have this film establish Doctor Doom as a multiversal universe villain, and the way to do that is with Avengers Doomsday before the main comic book title of Secret Wars.
All right, all right, all right. So good tag in right there. So thank you for not going to the meat and potatoes, Mike. Ronan, segueing off of that, I heard there were some people like on stage that just started kind of coming through as well. You want to kind of position us up for that?
Yeah. So as soon as he was saying like before Secret Wars, we need to build up this character. We need to build up a character that is pivotal and probably the most important character in the Marvel universe. And next thing you know, the lights turn green, and I was like, "Holy they're doing it! They're doing it!" And dude, it felt like something out of a horror movie, where like from the left and the right of the stage, these Doom bots, these Doom minions, just Doom acolytes, if you will, just start walking in and chanting something, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And they're like, "Yep, we're gonna bring Doom in," and I can't believe they did it. They were saying, and to do that, we need the best actor in the world. Now, I'm gonna let you say that, Sam, because you again, we were in the room, you weren't in the room, so I want to have you say that. But just as a funny thing, when they said that, I legit thought they were gonna say Daniel Day-Lewis, and I was about to go, "Whoa, we got him!" And I was literally. And listen, I love my classic directors. I love the classic Hollywood, but it was one of those moments where I was like, "We fucking got him, coach. We got him." Like they can say whatever they want, but we got their MVP. We got their guy that they hold up to standard, and I think we also hold up to standard. He likes our stuff, and he's gonna come join us. I thought that was gonna happen. I was just like, X don't give it to you. But that wasn't the case. So they leave the spot, and they say, and they leave space, and someone walks into the center stage wearing the mask of Doom. And then Sam, take it away.
Yeah. So I saw this footage. I was salty when I seen it, because we were in the middle of doing a review for House of the Dragon. Shameless plug. Episode 7 is debuting tonight. Go and check it out immediately because it's dope. I was looking online and I was like, "Oh, Russo brothers! Oh, wow, really exciting!" Then all of a sudden, somebody said, "Oh, wait, Doom! He showed up." Then they were like, they revealed the mask, and like he said, one of the greatest actors in the world right now. When I saw who it was, I said, "What the heck are they talking about? What is?" And they specifically addressed it that Victor Von Doom, not Doom, not the infamous Iron Man, just Victor freaking Von Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. Hate it or love it, the underdog's back on top. This is a very controversial awakening, the best thing I can kind of say, because it pivots to a couple different directions that I know are topics of discussion. Some people are looking at it from a very negative connotation. Some people are ecstatic as to possibilities of what this looks like. But make no mistake, it had to have been rumblings going on in Hall H. I can only imagine what you guys were experiencing, the people next to you or looking on stage. But I want you guys to tell me and everybody hearing this right now, what was it like for you personally? How did you feel? And then what was going on around you? Mike, I'll let you go first because you're in the middle of the thick of it right now.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, he was losing his mind. He was cussing and all that. Oh my God, I'll hold the camera. I'm like, wait, what? So I'm like, but I sat there. I was like, I'm happy he's there, happy he's back. And I was like, at Zoom? I'm like, oh, okay. And was it a bad reaction? No, I'm just happy he's back. But then my brain started clicking like, wait, what? Now, first off, to have to have Robert Downey Jr. to come out with the green cloak and everything, with the mask and all that stuff, and then as soon as he revealed his mask, he put all his dark glasses on, and then just did the whole two-piece after he got his Oscar, and everything. And I'm like, okay, listen, I am all for it. Like literally, I mean, without spoilers, whatever. But like, we literally have a actor in a recent movie that just came out who played this character years ago, but now is also known for playing another iconic character. So the same actor can play a different role and do it great. But when you do that mannerism of putting the Stark glasses on, I'm like, okay, am I
Yes,
seeing Tony Stark or am I seeing Victor Von Doom, the character you're supposed to be
exactly.
playing? So that's the thing. Now there have been versions of Tony Stark becoming a Doctor Doom, going on a different path in the comics. I think in the What If story, um, that
Yeah,
actually involved the Watcher in there. But I don't know how they're going to execute it. I mean, again, I was saying Killian Murphy, like, hey man, you're in the same movie, but you know, well, Oppenheimer, I was waiting for him to walk in there. But Robert, I was like, now, do I believe he's a capable actor to change his mannerism in terms of this role? Yes. Now, I think if I take my logic out of this, I'm like, okay, how would it feel that even then at the end of Secret Wars, we're going to get this reboot, but also you have the Fantastic Four, who has the smartest man alive, Reed Richards, to now almost pass the baton from the previous smartest person, Tony Stark, in terms of his staple in the MCU, right? And so, and to have that, Reed Richards and Doctor Doom, but have that be Robert Downey Jr., who played Tony Stark, it's almost kind of like the
It's
irony of,
better. It's really
of the
better.
genius and everything. But also think of it as, look, hey, Spider-Man movies, they still got, Tom still got some crossover movies in contract. So like, to face off against someone that looks like Tony Stark after everything that Peter Parker experienced. Now, the ultimate culmination event, he can have to defeat or kill the person that he loved as a father
Yeah.
figure, Tony Stark, or someone who has his face. That's, I think, the mindset of that. That's interesting. But again, I'm still kind of questioning like how this is going to blend in. But yeah, that's what I was feeling with that.
So before I give you over to Ronan, like how were people around you outside of Jonathan reacting? Like were people seemingly excited? Were they losing their minds?
Yeah.
Were they questioning
Well,
everything or all the above?
everybody was losing their mind. Lucas was just sitting there still, just sitting down like, oh, okay.
That's exactly his mannerisms.
So yeah, the whole thing. He just was like, oh, okay, you know. And then yeah, so and I was just kind of just like that blew me. Everybody was jumping, screaming, everything. Um, yeah, but around me, people were just like shocked that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back, and then yes, of Doctor Doom as well. So it's like that. Everybody was just kind of just stunned, and I was just like, I was trying to process like, hey, hold up, like I can't even think right now. Okay, Robert Downey Jr. Fantastic Four looks amazing. Where's Blade? But yeah,
All right, I'm gonna tag in Ronan. Ronan, you on deck. Your experience.
listen, if you would have told 12-year-old Ronan Miguel that the guy you saw that summer being Iron Man, that he would go on a crazy journey, and that you being you and you're not in high society standards, that you might one day go to a con that he's gone to but he rarely goes to anymore, and you would go and you tell him, you'd be like, oh, you're gonna see him, you're gonna be feet away from him, and you're like, that's the guy, he's there. And he put the glasses on. I'm like, that's Iron Man right there. Which, again, shocking, but not shocking. Why? I have to give credit where credit is due. Is that there was a rumor that he would be back playing Doom. There was a rumor that the Russo brothers would be back directing the next few Avenger movies and would help consult the MCU onwards in their trajectory. This, I have to give, the recognition to Jeff Snyder, who's a reporter that used to work for Collider and now does his own thing, and he has a podcast he co-hosts with John Roca. They were the first few ones I ever heard about this possibility or this maybe coming to fruition. So shout outs to them, whether people agree with him or not, whether they like him or not. They were the ones who dropped that first scoop, if you will. And it was I think for a lot of people who heard that rumor, it was just like, what the fuck? They're doing it. And it was a big moment that like him doing, new mask, same task. And it was just like, again, dude, I never thought I would be able to see him on stage. And it was just such a cool thing to see him in person. But I'm like, a part of me still, that feels weird. I'm like, okay, we're getting Dr. Doom, but I'm like, but what? What about Javier Bardem? I've been fan casting or others and whatnot, but I keep telling myself, don't take it at face value like a lot of fans do. Wait to see what the cooking, or like you like to say, ride the wave. I'm willing to bet money in Vegas that this is a multiverse Doom, and it'll be a good crossroads that like maybe the crew from the Fantastic Four will have their own Victor. And then the crossroads of the Avengers, like that guy looks like one of our founding members. And then when both teams meet, they're like, Victor, Tony? And it's like, you know this guy? Yes. He's like a father figure to me. No, this guy tried to kill us in our own time. Like he hates us. It's a good conversion of like drama and stuff whatnot. I get this valid, like, I don't know about this valid one, but the exhilaration of energy and vibe you can't deny. And folks, let's look at the track records. The Russo brothers in the MCU, have they missed? I don't think so. I'm pumped as hell, and the best way to wrap up how I think people were feeling that way is that when at one point they all stopped talking on stage, there was a chant, and Mike knows it. People on the audience were yelling. I've heard this a few times, chants in cons, but people just started shouting, "Holy shit! Holy shit!" And unison. I have it on my video. Selfish, ugly plug-in, but go watch my vlog for that day of Marvel's panel on my channel. You can hear it, and you can even hear me going with it. I was like, "This is buck wild. This is." Those who have never experienced Comic-Con and Hall H, do so once in your life because you need to attend this rock and roll concert. It's not a panel. Marvel has no panel. It's a rock and roll concert that gives us some candy once in a while.
All right. So
yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I appreciate you guys for that. I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. Two different big elephants. Okay. So you guys can kind of go as far into it as you want to. We don't have to. This is its own segment because we're gonna break all these up in different parts. This aspect is the controversial side, okay? The first one I'm going to address is going to be Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. And I think a lot of people, and this is not me, I'm just talking from a perspective. I think a lot of people question, does Robert Downey Jr. have to play Dr. Doom? Dr. Doom is a character, even if you look at it from a comic book standpoint, that consistently has his mask on, right? And if you hear Dr. Doom's voice, there's some bass to his voice. So it's like, is it going to be Robert Downey Jr. under there the whole entire time? Are you going to take his mask off? Is he going to have a voice augmenter? Robert Downey Jr. is one of the best character actors there is today. He can absolutely change his voice to whatever he needs it to. Not concerned about that. But there is validity to the perspective of him having a mask on at all times. How would he, what's the point? Like anybody with a good voice, good skills that can, like we've seen people like Tom Hardy bleed through a mask and you totally getting who Bane is without anyone seeing their actual face. So Robert Downey Jr., he's more than capable of doing it, but did it have to be Robert Downey Jr.? I'm going to ride the wave because there's always a reasoning, but a lot of people's perspective is this is a place of desperation. You're giving people, the successful directors that have accomplished the impossible, you're giving people Robert Downey Jr. back, who established this joint in a place, in a moment that there's not been that much light outside of the past, 96 hours. And I'm talking about Deadpool. So it's kind of like right now they're riding this high, and a lot of people are questioning, did you do this for your own motives, or was there an actual guided plan? And do you guys think it could have been somebody else? I want you guys to answer that because the part two of my question is going to be about a certain major. So I'll let you guys start that first.
Javier Bardem. That's been my fan casting from the get-go. I'm like, Javier, could do a lot, and specifically Javier Bardem versus Pedro Pascal. Are you kidding me? Like, oh, that would have been something else. And I'm right now, I'm reserving, my expectations. Trepidations a little bit, but I'm also the panel that followed this that was before this was the Penguin panel, and we saw and talked to Colin Farrell, who was someone who looks a certain way, and then you put makeup on him, and you don't recognize him. You don't see him. He's a completely different person. I go this way. If you bring in Doctor Doom and all I'm seeing is Robert Downey Jr. face, then you're really, really, really gonna put it tough on yourself and me to like see him, to not try to see him as Anthony Stark. Now, if they do prosthetics, if they change the look of him, I think he could run with it. I think he could run with it. He could change his voice, whatnot. I think he could run with it. He's that good. Look what he did with Oppenheimer. I mean, I think he has the tools in his box to pull that off. But again, because he's the character so connected with the Fantasy Four, to introduce him that way in a non-indirect way with them feels odd, and it feels like a choice that puts you in a corner that maybe you want to be in that corner and fight your way back and prove there is another way to do it. And if that's the case, kudos on you. I'm trying to do it that way. But yeah, friends of ours, the guys from Heroes Reports, they put out a video that like summed it up best of like, is it just to get the media going and how like, right now get the dialing up the Deadpool and Wolverine high from 10 to 15 or from 15 to 25, like it is a valid thing to bring up to the game, and I think it's a bit of both to an extent, but I mean it worked. If it was, we're doing a stream about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like people are absolutely talking about it. It's just more. I think the question that people are having is that what if it is Robert Downey Jr. under the mask the whole entire time? Then it really could have been anybody. But
yeah,
if they have a specific vision for him, then maybe that makes sense. But it's just really on the nose, no pun intended. But Mike, what's your perspective on it?
Yeah, I'm telling you this. Do they need to? Absolutely not. And I actually, and I hope I'm not speaking of, ahead of time for this, but I think they might have wrote themselves in the corner, because the fact that whether it's because you want to recycle the same actor, which you could, not saying Robert Downey Jr. return is bad, it's saying him returning as that character. And this is the thing, I was expecting, and I think most people were, that he was going to come back as a Iron Man variant, just from a different universe, whatever, right? Just the way that he can have that one last hurrah as Iron Man, right? But when you say you make this as Doctor Doom, what ends up happening now is that you rich yourself in a corner where you don't have another actor who can claim saying, "Oh, well, I've owned this character," seeing how I can put myself in this and stuff. And I'm not talking about anything about Robert Downey Jr.'s range as an actor or anything. It merely is only the fact that, hey, like, you mean tell me there's nobody, absolutely nobody that could have done this role? And absolutely they could. But I think, again, it's right, what we're thinking. Was it for fan service? Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, okay, well, how can we just bring him back, instead of not bringing like the Iron Man variant and everything? But yeah, that's what's going on.
So that's even more deeper question, because a lot of people are saying, well, is this a Iron Man variant? Is this the infamous Iron Man, or is this actually Victor Von Doom? I know they said it was Victor Von Doom, but some people have been hedging their bets that the actual Doctor Doom isn't been revealed yet. But this is a segue, Victor Von Doom. But you know what? I'm gonna ask a better question because I wasn't physically there. Did they say that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be in Doomsday movie and Secret Wars, or did they only say he was going to be featured in Doomsday?
No. They said that, hey, they announced Secret Wars and saying, hey, in order to do Secret Wars, we need to have this one character. And then that's when they announced Avengers Doomsday to set up Secret Wars as, yeah.
Right. But I'm saying I know that Doom is going to be in Secret Wars, but did they ever explicitly say, like they did Fantastic Four, that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars? Did they ever explicitly say that?
Well, that's basically what they implied. They never specifically said that, but that's what me. I'm like, okay, well, the logo's green, and you bring all the people in here for Doctor Doom. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to establish in that film how the heck do we have Doctor Doom with the face of Tony Stark, and then you get Secret Wars, which would be the climax culmination of that story. And I think it was just implied, but I mean, everybody knew. So they were thinking like, oh, cause it'd be like, oh, if you have an actual Doctor Doom or Victor Von Doom, you will have just announced it and said that.
Yeah,
And then
and
the curveball would be at the end of Doomsday. It'll be a twist like, oh, now Doctor Doom has the face of Tony Stark or whatever like that. That would be like a Infinity War snap twist, But
yeah, because the only reason why I asked this question is because that's why I brought up about the Fantastic Four, with it taking place in a different universe. Because to what Ronan was saying, I can believe that there's a Robert Downey Jr. version of Bond Doom with them. It's just a question of what that meant, how that intersected. Maybe they can go that line that by the end of the Fantastic Four movie, that's where we see him featured, and maybe that was why they wanted to reveal it now. I don't really know, but it's interesting timing. So that's controversy number one. Controversy number two is the fact that they scrapped Kang the Conqueror altogether. Even though they played it out well with the Loki, they played it out well with Loki so well that I was like, man, it'd be really interesting if they kind of let the dust settle later and come back to Kang the Conqueror. But instead, most people's implication is that, okay, well, you can't pivot to Kang the Conqueror anymore because some people say it's not working and some people say it's just too dangerous and controversial. But nonetheless, Kang the Conqueror is not at all talked about at all. Matter of fact, instead of a whole bunch of Kangs on stage, they had a whole bunch of Dooms on stage. And so people's perception is like, oh man, got to cut the black man out and everything he connected to. And instead, give you someone of confidence in Tony Stark and establish that this is what it's going to be moving forward. And it's a triggered answer to question because a lot of people think they did this to cover the whole Kang the Conqueror situation. They gave you something that's an easy slam dunk that would work. So I want you guys to talk towards that. Ron, I'm going to let you go first because I think you might be leaving soon. Ron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving soon. Man, it's tricky. I feel like it's a pivot that they didn't realize they had to do, and it was something that they were gonna probably build upon later on, and maybe decide just to bring it in forward, and then maybe later down the line do Kang again once some dust has settled. Yeah, I mean,
that's dirty. Come on, Versus. Don't say that.
damn.
Don't say that. That's dirty.
Yeah, to me, it's them staying away from the corner and having to be pulled up on the questions. They didn't bring Kang. They didn't bring Kang up. They didn't bring Blade up, and it's just like, okay,
where's Blade? I said, where's Blade? Where's Blade? The whole panel.
There's only one Blade. There's only gonna be one Blade.
No. Oh, it better be. But then why he else stage say, hey, I'm gonna take over this movie? No, I kept saying Blade. I kept yelling like, hey, oh yeah, we're out of here. No, Blade. People around me in the audience were laughing because they know it was true.
Yeah.
Where's Blade?
Again, as a fan, I'm like, okay, here we go. We're dodging the big questions again. But when I work in that company, I'm like, phew, okay, you got out of the panel, you got them exciting. Now just let the rest simmer and just work on fixing, on mending that stuff, those promises that we made. And for those who aren't aware, this isn't the first time that Marvel's done this. They've had to change stuff around. Sam, remember, they were going to do an Inhumans movie. And they didn't do that onwards. Stuff is always changing, and you never know. So you could always switch stuff around. Oh boy. And again, it's I feel like for yeah for them right now, it's the character of Kang is too good to let go that easily. So it's like Loki gave us a way to just for now put him to rest, and then later on bring him back up. I don't know, because again, and if I was writing the character, though, I'd be like, okay, cool. Kang saw that Doom was coming and let Doom take care of the heroes. Heroes take care of him, and then he could swap in and take in his reign, which would be smart.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah, I'm with it. It's just I would have preferred them to have just recasted Kang the Conqueror. And even if it was a situation where Doom, and this may still happen, maybe a situation where Doom kind of puts him in his place, so to speak. But it just comes off it. The people's perception that I've been hearing, it comes off like desperation and cover.
yeah,
And it's sad because you guys, even everything you guys have said, y'all are really excited. Nonetheless, like that was an electric moment. It's just the question is functionally, how is it going to be executed, and will it be digestible, or is it like a major pivot that they had to make? Hopefully not out of desperation. I think that's the basis of the question. But I appreciate you guys uncovering it. We could go for days on this. I know you guys are still covering things.
yes,
But we gotta go. I definitely want to talk about the Penguin for sure. I definitely want to talk about BZRKER. I definitely want to talk about whatever the heck you guys saw as well, because the world does not know. You guys think everybody knows, but they don't. Not everything's been leaked, thank God. But I just want to tell you guys I appreciate you guys' hard work. Thank you for representing JVS and your respective outlets. And yeah, we're gonna go. Make it work, guys.
Bye.
Appreciate y'all. Later, everybody. We out. Peace.